What is up, all you beautiful, free-minded, free-thinking people? I hope you're having an amazing day so far. Really quick, I just wanted to thank all of our sponsors, all the companies that make this show possible. First off, Good Habits Coffee Company. Guys, you need to check them out if you enjoy good coffee. Good Habits is all about selecting the highest quality beans. They only use grade A beans. A lot of companies, the big companies you're familiar with, don't even do that, all right? They use grade B beans. They process them in a way that maximizes freshness and still is friendly to the earth and the environment. Good Habits is all about helping you become the best version of yourself. You guys have probably heard me say it a million times if you've listened to my content over the years. You are your habits. That's why I love the name of this company, Good Habits Coffee. Discipline is far more important than motivation, and discipline is all about cultivating good habits. Good Habits is all about making good coffee for driven people. And I know that's you. That's my listeners. If you care about having a strong body and a free mind, which is what I'm all about here, you're going to like Good Habits Coffee. You can use code HURT at checkout to save some moolah. That's H-U-R-T, my last name. And if you do, let me know what you think, guys. I'm telling you, it's my favorite coffee I've ever had. I love it. Everything comes shipped whole bean because that maximizes freshness. They roast twice a week. So you're never getting something shipped that wasn't roasted within the last couple days. So check them out, Good Habits Coffee Company. Next, justworkco.com. All started with this shirt that I just held up here on the video version, the Free Mind t-shirt. Of course, the namesake of this podcast. Any apparel you purchase at justworkco.com directly supports our efforts here on the show. So check it out. We have a number of designs, a number of colors. You guys have seen me wear all of our shirts here on the show at different times. We have the Free Mind one I just showed you, the Question Everything shirt, which is very popular these days, especially when questioning is frowned upon. We have to push back against that stuff. Next, the Just Work shirt that I'm wearing right now says Just Work, period, across the front. Who can't get behind that? And lastly, the Sovereign t-shirt, which is probably my favorite now because sovereign means you're not controlled by another. And that's what we're all about. Strong body, free mind. Check us out, justworkco.com. Again, support the show if you want by wearing one of our shirts. Lastly, First Phorm, the only supplements I put in my body. I have used exclusively First Phorm supplements for the last 4 years, and I have nothing but good things to say about the products and the company. The highest quality standards. The company stands up for what's right in an age of corporate wokeism. First Phorm goes against the grain. Firstphorm.com/hurt will get you free shipping on any products you want shipped to you in the continental U.S. Again, only supplements I use. I can't say enough good things about them. If you have any questions about supplements, which ones to get, which ones suit your needs, hit me up, shoot me a message, comment below, whatever you want to do. You can find me on all the socials, and I will help you out because I absolutely love this company and what it stands for. It's when I was doing a lot of nutrition coaching, it's the only supplements I recommended to my clients because I knew we would get results. Firstphorm.com/hurt. All right, that is enough chit chat. Let's get into this episode.
That's why I wear a diaper.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. That shit. Keep that shit on you, man. There's nothing more like free than the
All
true...
I do is fucking grind, okay? And I have to wear a diaper because I don't have time to shit.
Hey, grind and grunt. All right. Established 2022. Grind and grunt.
Today's episode brought to you by Pampers.
Shout out Pampers. Made this all possible.
Should have brought my Huggies down.
We're recording already, so
Good.
Yeah,
wow.
This is
Okay.
getting put out to the masses.
Oh,
All right. So
yeah.
all right, we'll do quick introductions, but really quick, I just want to welcome everybody back to the fucking show. This is the Free Mind Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Hurt, and this is a special episode. I don't even know where to look because the weird camera setup, so I'm just going to
look at me.
At your face. Ooh, yours sounds better.
Look at me.
Is that your voice is better than mine? Or
It's that podcast voice.
Naturally.
Yeah.
It's that podcast.
Well, I had a cold in my defense.
Okay, yeah. Let's blame it on the cold.
Damn it.
We all have inferior voices to Andy.
We just completely fucked up Dave's intro.
I know. No, my intro was gone before it started, bro.
We're good.
So this is a cabin out in the middle of the woods with 3 dudes and myself. I guess I'm a dude.
You're also a dude.
4 dudes. 4 dudes.
3 dudes and Dave.
That's right. 3 dudes, 1 cuck.
Oh, God.
I'm not a cuck. I'm not a cuck.
One of us is a cuck. Who
One
is
of
it?
us is. I don't know. Maybe the one who hasn't talked yet.
Oh, man. I don't know about the cuckery thing, dude.
All right. So this is a kind of a cool retreat that Andy put together. All of us 4 guys are out here. I'm a day late, unfortunately, but I'm stoked to be here with you guys. And we decided we'd sit down and record a podcast. Who knows how this is going to go? It's the first time I've done a podcast with 4 people. So
there's a lot of shit going on right now. I just noticed that.
Yeah, it's nice to get my money's worth out of these 4 mics.
Right.
So
you knew this day was coming.
Yeah. Really quick, guys, do intros, I guess, starting with you, and we'll work our way around this way.
I'm Jacob, and feel like I'm in like a class, like introducing myself, like, hey, my special talent is, I'm founder and owner of the Nutrition Store LLC. We have 2 storefront locations in Spartanburg and Greenville, South Carolina. And we're a brand that focuses on really changing the narrative of the supplement space, trying to dispel a lot of the myths, a lot of the traditional idea that it has been built on. So by providing facts and education and funny ass content.
And Jacob this is a recurring guest. This is his 2nd appearance on the show.
Glad to be here. Yeah, thank you.
You were my first guest in the new studio.
That was awesome, by the way. Yeah. That gave me a lot of really good ideas.
Speaking of recurring guests,
Boss Hog.
Yep. He's talking about his penis.
Oh yeah, I only get a call.
That's the real guest.
I get a call.
That's the real guest tonight. My name is Andy. I don't know. I don't want to do a fucking intro myself.
He doesn't need it.
This is Andy Lewis.
Yeah.
I'm Andy Lewis. There you go.
If you want an intro, check out the other episode I did with him where we talked about all kinds of things from masturbation to psychedelics and everything in between.
They go hand in hand.
There you go. There's my intro.
Andy has Norse Fitness, Norse Compound Gym, bunch of stuff. Look him up. He's all over the place. And you, sir. This is your first appearance on the show.
Yes, very first. I've been on Norse mythology before.
Norse mythology? You don't even know the name of my fucking podcast?
Hey, it's rough.
No,
man.
He's been
Norse
in actual Norse mythology. He's a
yeah.
fucking ancient...
Wrote the fucking shit.
Norse mentality, I butchered that. But
We're off to a great fucking start.
Hey, we're rolling with it.
Yeah.
Joe Adams, based out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and I run Relentless Pursuit Apparel, and basically what that is about is pushing others to accept nothing but greatness and be the best versions of themselves. That's really what everything is geared about. So definitely check it out. So.
Check them out. Relentless
Pursuit.
Mythology.
Motherfucker. Never living it down.
All right. So this is disclaimer for anybody listening. This is my first experience with mushrooms. I consumed mushrooms in a small quantity prior to this, so I can't make any promises about how this.
I was wondering if that was going to be disclosed or not.
Oh, I don't. My listeners know, man. I don't hold any. I don't.
I wouldn't have expected anything less.
Yeah, dude. I tell them what I inject in my ass. I tell them what I put in my mouth. Not everything.
Whoa! At the same time. Yeah. No.
We good. Yeah. All right. So
this is my first time with them too. I have to say that.
Hell yeah!
And I was saying before we actually sat down.
He was like, I feel different.
No, well, I sat down and I was just like, I looked over at Andy. Dude, I just kind of melted into it.
And then I lost my shit.
That's what happened? I was wondering, because I missed that whole interaction.
It wasn't really, it was me in the chair at the,
It was him laughing at you, basically just being
whatever this is.
Just being.
Anyway.
Just being.
Existing.
Yeah. So, fellas, we were talking about one of our favorite social media personalities earlier, LiverKing. Jacob's a huge fan.
Buys all his shit.
He buys all his shit. And we were knocking him, but we kind of like progressed through the conversation and got to the point where we're like, well, he's kind of a fucking marketing genius.
Yeah, I mean,
he's absolutely a genius.
And Andy had a pretty interesting take on it, talking about how, and I never even thought about it this deeply, how it's probably all been planned out. It was a planned attack and everything. And you even said I'd be shocked if he even logs into his Instagram, which something I hadn't even thought of, but an interesting perspective on it.
Yeah, I mean, people at that level, because that's what it is. There's different levels to this shit. He's at a top level. He is. Like, in all reality. The dude flies around on a fucking private jet. Like
very quickly, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's got it fucking figured out. He came into this with a reason. Now, there's going to be a product eventually. And that's where, like, that conversation earlier stemmed from. Yeah. People like him don't put themselves out there unless there's, like, a reason and a purpose to doing so. Because why the fuck would you? Like, he has no reason to waste his fucking time on social media. The dude runs multiple companies. He's successful. He's got another...
He's fucking shredded.
He's fucking natty. Shredded and natty.
Natty.
Dude, I don't know.
Super natty.
Dude,
but no,
it's the organs, I'm telling you.
That's all it is. But he's a genius.
Yeah.
I think the dude's very fucking smart when it comes to business and when it comes to marketing. And because of that, you don't make moves like that and then blow up overnight just because you feel like telling people to eat more liver.
Why has he... Because there's a lot of people trying to make it in this landscape, fitness, social media, whatever. What has he done differently that's so meteoric in his rise, right? Like, he just came out of nowhere.
You want to know what it is?
Next thing you know, he's at 1 million followers. Yeah. What does he have figured out?
Consistent. Every single thing that he's done is consistent. The stories that he make are the same every single day. The shit that he's doing, he goes to fucking New York and he's doing the exact same shit in New York City that he's doing at his ranch in Texas.
Yeah.
Including like walking out of a subway with fucking kettlebells doing his barbarian workout.
And he's also built this kind of an enigmatic character that people love to hate.
Well, that's the thing. It's a character. And this dude has so much fucking confidence. It's remarkable.
Yeah.
Like I compared him to Trump earlier, and that's why. Is because he's getting so much shit and never once has he slowed the fuck down.
Not once. Yeah.
He probably doesn't even fucking know that's going on.
And who else?
But even if he does, say like he is logging in and he's seeing all this shit, which I fucking doubt. But let's say he is logging in and he's seeing all of this stuff that's going on. That's these entire fucking pages that are devoted by losers in all reality, fucking sitting around talking shit about him.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't give a fuck because he is crushing it. That's a certain level of confidence that anyone at this table, we'd be like, oh, fuck. Like, these are millions of people that are like, a lot of these high rep names fucking hate my guts. And he's like, I don't give a fuck about any of you. I'm still doing my own thing. That's next level shit. Even Joe Rogan here recently.
Yeah. He was
that fucked Joe up. Well, I didn't hear that. But Joe, like, with that fucking bullshit that happened with him, which was complete bullshit. But when that happened to him, even he was like...
He issued an apology.
Yeah, I mean, because it got to him. LiverKing does not give a fuck. It's at a next level of not giving a fuck about anything.
And who else is doing what he's doing? Like, think about it. Like,
there's a lot of people doing what he's doing.
But like on his scale,
but
he
they're
attacked
not,
it like a totally different way.
But they're not consistent.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Every single fucking thing that he does is consistent.
Yeah.
You can plan it out, but that's the thing. That's how the human brain works. Yeah, we love consistency and we love stories and we love fucking characters and archetypes. Yeah. Archetypes, that's all it is. He has created a character that is a like bigger... People can't, like, this is what people aspire to be, almost. You know, like, the dude has great genetics. He's very well-spoken. I think he's, like, if anything, he probably dumbs himself down a little bit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's always the same exact shit. Like, even him walking through the woods. So, he does these, like, Sunday walks, right? And on the face, you know, sun on the face, on the hair, on the skin. That way we can get our best sleep ever and do whatever the fuck. There's so many more benefits to getting the fucking sun on you and for walking in nature, but he only repeats that exact phrase every single time. You could go into all the science behind getting more vitamin D and how that's going to affect you and all this different shit, but he only says the exact same shit every single time because it is being programmed into people's... Every single thing that he's done is programming. Now, some of this is good. Some of it is making people live a healthier lifestyle, which that's fucking awesome. Now... The issue is that you have people that are... This dude can live this lifestyle for one because he owns a ranch, right? But he's also a multimillionaire and all this shit. Eating liver, like organic liver and shit, is not... Except, like, most people can't obtain that, unfortunately. Wish they could because it's great. But they can't get that for themselves. So it's almost an unrealistic way of life that he's promoting. And it's not one that he's necessarily. I think he does. I think the dude is like. I think he is authentic. I think to a certain extent the dude is authentic.
But it's like, okay, you can't live like me, granted, but I sell these products, which is the next best thing, right?
But he doesn't ever push the fucking product, and that's what's like.
Is it his product or?
It's 100% his product.
Yeah, it's his company.
That's a.
But he doesn't have.
It's weird because he doesn't. It's just like
there's something
people
else.
find their way to it.
There's something else to it, like.
What?
Well, it's not necessarily like right there. There's going to be a product of some sort that's not ancestral supplements.
Yeah. Do you any like bodybuilding fans? You know Mike O'Hearn, right?
Yeah.
I've never worked out
the natty.
Speaking of natty people,
so he owns his natty status, and he's owned it since he was in his prime, and to this day, looking like he does. You know, like 50s. It reminds me a lot of him, except LiverKing is on an nth degree of that belief in his own lie. I mean, like the natty thing, you know.
The thing is, he's like owned what he does.
The character that's being made.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like you said. There's plenty of other people that are like, "Oh, my bad, interrupt."
You're good. This podcast, dude. We're going to interrupt. Man. Good. Don't worry about that.
If you're worried about interrupting, you're never going to get to talk.
I'm just kind of just chilling here. No, but he owns what he does. It's like you said. There's tons of other people doing what he does, but I've even had people bring him up to me like. They've never seen anybody or heard of anybody eating organs. Like they immediately associate that with him.
Yeah,
and there's some good to that. Though,
he's creating.
Yeah, there is.
There's some good to that.
Well, because he understands. He understands fucking psychology. He understands social media. It's all shock appeal. Okay, what do I need to do to get people's fucking attention? Like on a mass scale, I need to put 50 shots here and do 50 shots of raw eggs.
Yeah,
that's going to get you a bunch of fucking shares to the point where you can go from 0 followers to over 1 million in 6 months. Everything that he does has a purpose to it. LiverKing doesn't get on fucking social media just to be like, LiverKing here just hanging out. What's up, y'all? Yeah. Every single thing from a business perspective is content created. Like with Norse, we're not going to just fucking post something on Norse just for the sake of doing it. It has to serve a purpose or else there's no point in doing it.
This is where I'm fucking up with my stuff because I have like no plan. I just post shit.
I have structure,
but it's working for you.
I guess.
I have structure to anything that I post.
I see LiverKing, I'm like, this fucking douchebag.
It's so regimented. And it's so outrageous. Yeah. You know, you have this figure who is like massive, who lives on a ranch, who is consistent with the same content, same phrases.
So what
it's programming like he said.
What if we talk about, say,
need to program people.
Well, it is programmed. Like there's NLP
programming all of you right now.
There's NLP and shit being used, obviously, but let's get down to why are people like? I don't have any issues with the dude. I think he's a fucking genius. But let's dig into why. Let's dig into the people that are following it. Why has individuals? Because this can transfer over to politics. This can transfer into why are we obsessed with celebrities and all this different shit. The people that I think one of the reasons that people are getting obsessed with LiverKing is because he's promoting a way of life that we long for. Mm-hmm. We fucking hate the world that we live in now. That's why we are in a cabin in the middle of nowhere in the mountains, is because we needed to get away from that shit. And people want to get the fuck away from it. And you have this dude here that is like literally primal. Just do shit that your ancestors did. And we fucking long for that because the way of life that we live now is fucking manufactured bullshit created by man. Like we live in a man-made reality. LiverKing is promoting a message that is like, no, like we need to return to how like our ancestors were. And every single person fucking longs for that because we are confused. And there's all this different, like we're overstimulated like a motherfucker. Well, what's the opposite of overstimulated? Get the fuck away from the technology. And that's why when you go out into nature and there is no phone or anything, a lot of people freak the fuck out at first because they're not used to it. But then there's this, oh my God.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You start to be able to hear your own thoughts again. Mm-hmm. You start to
gather your own opinions.
Yeah. Like
which people lack.
And it's the same reason this medium has taken off. Long form conversation. Like for a long time, it wasn't really at the forefront of the zeitgeist or whatever. Like it was all, everything was just little, like we were talking about earlier, news, fucking 3-minute, 2-minute things and whatever. And And people are like, why is Joe Rogan so successful just sitting down getting high talking for 3 hours? Because that is like root humanity. Like that is what we did around the campfire. Like I was telling him before we started recording. So my best memories are talking to my grandfather up until like 2 a.m. just sitting there. He drank his coffee. I was fucking knee high to a grasshopper, just listening to his stories, talking to him. Like that's what we're about.
That doesn't exist anymore, though.
It doesn't.
Unless it is an intentional act, especially as a parent. Like you have to be intentional and be like, I need to make sure I am present.
Yeah,
what kind of fucking world that we live in where we have to make an intention to be present with our own goddamn kid? But that's the thing is I have to put away my fucking phone to be present with my kid. What the fuck? That has never existed before, up until the past 10 years.
Yeah, and this organism is the same fucking organism.
That has existed for hundreds of thousands of years.
Exactly. Yep. And we're not adapted to that, man. Like we're not.
I never thought about the present thing like that till just now, and it fucking infuriates me because as I'm taking off my goddamn jacket because I'm so heated up.
Let's get this man some more mushrooms.
Right. But that's infuriating to me because that's the natural world. Our natural world is present. Mm-hmm. And yet we don't live there anymore.
We have to intentionally be present nowadays.
What kind of fucking bullshit is that?
Crazy?
Which I think,
it's in our name, human being.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right.
Yeah. But that's the thing is, this has always existed. That's why like Buddhism is a fucking thing, is because Buddha was one of the first people to be like, I'm going to be present and not, I'm going to detach from this fucking thing up here. Like you can turn this off and be present. Mm-hmm. So we've always had an issue with this dictating every single thing and not allowing us to actually just shut this off and be present on this exact moment without other thoughts. Because if you're thinking about all these other shit, then you're not present. You might be here, you might be looking at something, but if you're thinking about being somewhere else or doing this in the future or what you did yesterday or whatever, that's the opposite of present. You're living in the future or you're living in the past. You're not living in this exact moment here.
And nowadays, it's such a difficult task. I mean, there's so many different forces coming at you all at once. Mm-hmm. Man, it's hard to just kind of be present for a lot of people.
Our attention span is the smallest it's ever been. Like it's that of a goldfish, right?
Yeah.
It's what, like 3 seconds now or some stupid shit?
It's fucking nuts.
You can't even stay focused on your own goddamn, like, in order to be fully present, you have to be able to concentrate on being present.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that's a weird concept, but that's the truth. Like you have to be able to shut this the fuck up, your mind, for those listening and not like watching it on video. But either way, you have to be able to force yourself to be present and concentrate on this exact moment and not be thinking about what you need to do next, not be thinking about the past, not be thinking. There is no thinking involved when you are present. That's a very hard state to get to, especially when your attention span is that of a fucking goldfish.
Yeah.
Because it takes attention and concentration to be present, which is very fucking weird, but that's the human disease.
It's the curse of the developed cortex.
It is our curse, unfortunately.
If you look at apes, you know, and they have higher level thinking, right? But not to the extent we do. But like they are present. They're reacting, right? Like you mentioned not thinking. It's because you're just reacting. You're existing in that moment and reacting to the external stimuli around you, which is really the canonical thing, right, is watching some fucking teenager on their phone walk into something, right? Because you're so out of the present, right? And it's a fucking shame. And I see it, dude. I see it all the time in the studio. I'll have a guest sit down and they'll have their cell phone on the table.
That drives me fucking crazy.
And I'm like, you can put that away. You're not going to need that for the next 2 hours. And they're like, what? I'm like,
they freak out.
You're not looking at your phone while we have a conversation.
Yep.
But when you get used to that, it's so liberating, man. Like I look forward to my time in the studio when it's just me and another human and I don't have to worry about all that shit. But it's stressful to a lot of people. Like those congressional candidates I had in the fucking office. I loved watching it, you know. But
really?
Shout out to you guys.
People are terrified to be bored.
They are.
I would love.
Remember when we used to just be bored?
Right, and we hated it as kids. I would love if I had the time to just do fucking nothing.
Yeah,
I like
be bored.
I have to schedule that where it's like I have to go to the fucking woods and be completely cut off from society. We were just talking about before we started the podcast. Whenever I took that camping trip, or when I had to camp by myself for 2 days.
I'm really impressed with like that, because me just thinking about it from my like state of never being present, you know, because I'm always focused on what's next, working. to hearing that, even like I know that it's definitely a beneficial thing, but
So
it's a profound thing that like I react to. I'm like, you went into the woods for 2 weeks, or not 2 weeks, 2 days, even no phone, no no communication,
No social contact.
and it's also an interesting thing because I'm a socially oriented kind of person anyway. So I'm just like, 2 days.
What did you do?
No contact with any.
What would you do if you had to be stuck for 2 days in the wilderness?
Well, I mean, if I would obviously try to find something to eat.
It was like an awkward cap. So
find a good place to lay down, but at the same time, I don't think.
So after you've masturbated a bunch of times,
Exactly,
what else
pretty
would
much.
you do?
So
that's what food translates to Jacob's masturbation.
yeah, oh
You
yeah,
need food, clearly.
pretty much, dude. Like, listen, yeah, these things are trained up. I don't think I would react very well after probably 24 hours.
You would
to
lose
be honest with you.
I think you would lose your shit after about 6 hours.
Yeah.
But then there were the state that comes after that
Yeah,
is profound.
because even we were having a conversation about how we communicate with others earlier, and I was saying, sometimes when I'm with my team, I have a conversation with myself out loud, and I will ask myself questions, not even intentionally like having a conversation with myself. It's just more so like I'll talk to you and be like, should I do this, and then I come to my own conclusion. Like
My wife does that all the time too.
Oh yeah. Well, that's no comment.
Where should we eat dinner? Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, yeah,
I
well,
make
that's where you-
suggestions. No, God, no.
Yeah.
Well, why the fuck did you ask my opinion? I love you, sweetheart.
I think go back to like being present. It was a survival, whatever the fuck, however humans came about. It's a survival thing. We have to be aware of all of our surroundings, right? When you hear something in the bush, what the fuck was that?
Mm-hmm.
We have to have that thought. What the fuck could be hiding in that bush right now? Like that is why it's a survival mechanism. To not be present is a survival mechanism.
We're
almost.
easily
It's to be aware.
distracted because
of that.
evolutionarily beneficial.
Right. It was once upon a time it served a huge purpose. It no longer serves a purpose, which is why more people should be taking advantage of that. Okay, we have less threats now. Like we live in a better world.
Instead of threaten the bush,
Yeah, do you
smartphone?
Right.
That's the distraction.
And you also think about, so obviously we're not caught up to what society, like biologically we're not ready to handle the amount of technology because that's driving our lack of awareness and presence.
Not. Yeah.
But also think about over the past 50 years, what that technology has caused internally. Like our cortisol levels naturally higher now. Like, are we always stressed out? I mean, is heart disease at an all-time high? Yeah.
Testosterone.
It's low.
All-time lows.
Yeah. So like these things are
We're heading
over
towards
time.
Wall-E.
Yeah. Chronologically, it's
We were talking about that last night. The whole Wall-E.
Yeah.
Is exactly what's happening.
Well, that's what's unfortunately that's like it. That is the future.
But to bring it all back,
Terrifying.
that's why LiverKing has so much appeal to people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
I do appreciate
because
that.
they long for that.
They long for that, and it's
Yeah. I wouldn't, sorry to jump in. I would say, I wouldn't say they long for the primal behavior. It's more so look at this guy. He's so blissful. His character is just so at peace with nature. And
When I see the haters in
You know?
the comments, I get a feeling of like, there's some jealousy there too. Like
course they are.
I feel like they're just jealous fucks, a lot of them,
Yeah. There's a difference between hate and dissection too.
Yeah.
Like being able to break down a stance without judging.
Right.
And that's something that like,
I don't fault anybody for being who they are.
Right.
I'm just interested in why they are.
yeah.
that is
yeah,
the
yeah.
interesting part.
Yeah, that's the interesting.
And then when I look at LiverKing, that's what that's
yeah.
exactly what my brain does. I don't give a fuck what the dude's doing.
Right.
Honestly, like it doesn't matter to me. But I'm interested in how successful and like what
That's where I stand.
what
on
tools have been like employed and all this shit. Because when he talks, we
He-
primals, all of that serves a purpose.
He came
as
out
well.
of nowhere. He just blew up.
He didn't come out of nowhere. This has been like in the works for a long time. He did. So he surfaced as far as like this Instagram account and shit. Yeah, like that came out of nowhere. But this has been in the works for quite some fucking time.
And it's amazing, like the time that we live in to have all these, especially the big three social platforms for video content and for his type of, promotion to the world. TikTok. It makes me think
Is he
of
on TikTok?
I'm pretty sure he's on TikTok and
yeah,
Instagram.
he absolutely should. He is. There's no way he's not.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it. I've seen his videos.
A
I don't know.
LiverKing,
The same person controlling his Instagram account is controlling his TikTok.
Well, and it also is
It's
the
not
perfect time in humanity to create that kind of tribal behavior that we see in the haters and the groups.
We long for that as well. Men don't have tribes anymore.
Well, exactly. And if it's so easy.
That's why guys get so invested emotionally in sports teams and shit.
Yeah, because we long for it.
Yeah. I did a.
I mean, we do have some tribes. We got some.
Yeah.
Like what, sir?
Well, there's, but as far as like, we do.
I mean, the Aboriginals.
But even like this right here, like
politics. That's why politics are so emotionally.
we also,
charged,
but like, this is why this is so nice. It's just dudes hanging out, fucking shooting the shit. That's why staying around a campfire.
Fucking shooting the shit, not fucking shooting the shit.
I don't know. It depends.
Well, we'll see where the night goes.
We'll see what happens.
I have a tribe of guys that I took an oath with that we get together in the woods every month.
Yeah.
You know, and like we're all pagans, so we do a ritual and stuff like that. And I mean, but we share common ground. There's a lot of commonality.
But like, you're the exception, though. You're the exception. There's not, most guys don't have that.
Yeah.
No, and what we speak on though often is that like, and one thing I'm aware of every time I come home and I'm just like talking to my girlfriend or something, I'm like, God, men need this shit.
Yeah.
But like I can just look around and you can be sitting at a restaurant or whatever, and you're so aware of how many lack that, and it's pretty sad because I'm very grateful for what I have.
Well, that's why someone like LiverKing can come about and say primal, primal, primal. Oh my God, I'm a part of something. I'm a part of something. We have a belief system. This is how we act. This is what my tribe does.
Yeah.
My tribe acts like this. We have a name. We have an identity now.
Yeah. Well, that's how
we have a leader.
Any successful brand capitalizes on the tribalistic DNA.
Absolutely.
Humans, right? I see it with First Phorm. Love First Phorm to death, but you see it with how fucking tribal and cult-like people are with First Phorm.
We crave it.
Yeah.
We crave it as people.
We don't have it in our everyday life.
We all want to. There's that high moth. No.
Jacob got a moth high earlier.
Oh yeah, that's incredible.
That was a big moth. Right?
That was an active. Yeah,
this little baby moth. You get this little fucker high too.
Listen, bro. I think he got.
You're out of control with this whole moth.
He gave birth. I was just saying we all want to feel like we're a part of something greater than ourselves. Like we all want to contribute to that one singular cause, or whatever it may be. You know, to whether it's the end of our life or even if we don't end up in the same tribalistic or belief system, we're all seeking to push something up or to contribute. So I think that's why the successful brands like LiverKing is doing that. First Phorm's exceptionally done that.
Yeah.
They freaking wrote the book on that. And
Free Mind Podcast has done that. You sons of bitches.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this though.
Love you all.
If we did actually have back in the day, like more actual tribes where like groups of men or just families in general, these actual tribes, if you had enough of them, today's marketing schemes and shit would not be effective because these people already have something that they relate to and that they believe in, and they don't give a fuck what you are doing.
Well, yeah, I mean,
but
that's why it's been so hard for the internet to take down all these, the traditional. Not so hard, but it's been quick.
If we still had
traditional belief systems,
if people still had a place where they could feel like they belong to something, then they wouldn't be so eagerly willing to just jump on fucking bandwagons that they do now. That's what I'm getting at there.
Technology.
Do you think that that's why historically man has embraced religion so much?
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of reasons.
Do you think religion fills that void now, or do you think
we talked about religion a lot?
We had a long. Well, and I think that it was
is religion tribal?
It could be.
I think religion is a sense of control.
Religion
was created control. Like anyone.
The word religion,
a consciously,
spirituality,
right? Like
to be said,
those are two different things. Like someone that is consciously aware, they don't have to have religion. That doesn't make why the fuck would you need religion? Right. Like you're just aware of the natural world around you. Like cool, this is how shit works.
I'm gonna follow your people's bylaws.
Like you don't fucking need that. It's whenever you're less consciously aware that you need religion and you need someone to tell you what to fucking think and do. That's what religion is. It's someone saying this is how you need to think.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then governments and shit have used it over the years to control people. That's why our fucking founding fathers saw that. That's why religion and state are not supposed to be mixed. It's because They're both like religion is used as a fucking control mechanism. You don't have to be religious to believe in God.
None of them, which were, they were all.
Why do you need
Taoists.
a fucking label to believe in that? A man-made label.
Or no, what was it?
What?
Oh, my bad.
So we're going in two different directions.
So I was talking to him.
Talking to Dave.
I was talking to him.
Oh shit! I don't know.
My bad, dude. No.
Why is the roof getting lower?
I was talking. I said I think that all the founding fathers were not religious. Actually, they were like what is the one where you are kind of like with any religion?
Agnostic?
No, it's like
secular.
I wanted to say Taoist.
You can see it with their.
I've never heard that.
That's a different one. That's yeah.
You can see it with their speech though.
Digress.
It's creator. Thomas Jefferson used the word
creator. Not
Yes.
God.
It's not God. It's not Jesus Christ.
Not Christ,
It's not fucking any of that. It is creator.
Yep.
That right there tells it to you.
It's a deist.
And all spiritualities, in
think you're
essence,
right.
like connect to a soul
it's-
creator.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
All right,
So like
I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah.
Makes
but
me
getting
feel
back to
better.
religion, but that is why, man. I think that is why lower consciousness level men seek out that.
So it's almost like the conversation we were having earlier before we started recording, where we said that people are ultimately, or I said this as a response to our conversation, people truly, most people fear at their core real freedom, like real freedom. They want to be told how you're
absolutely.
supposed to live, how you're supposed to think, what you're supposed to do, because you can now outsource some of that liability to whatever force.
It's responsibility. You no longer have to take responsibility for your own fucking actions in your
and a
life.
lot of people do that with the government today.
Right. It's the government's fault. It's the fucking this person's fault. It's that person's fault. You can't do that if you take full responsibility for your own life.
Yep.
You can no longer pass the blame to anybody else. You have to be a fucking man about it and be like, shit, I fucked up. Or I could have done this better. People don't like to do that. So it's easier to say government did this, government did that, blah, 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 which the government's fucked. Like, obviously.
Yeah.
We need less government,
The
but
government is awful, but you can't, like, every time you blame some external force for something fucked up in your life, you're giving away a little bit of your freedom, really.
it's energy.
Yeah.
You're giving out energy to something else. That's energy that could be helping you do whatever the fuck you want to in life, and conquering goals, living the life that you want to live. Whenever you release that energy into something else, a person, an idea, whatever that is, you no longer have that energy for you to obtain what you want to in this life. That's what that boils down to. That's why victim mentality is so fucking like, it's just ridiculous. You don't have that. You're releasing that energy. You could just keep that to yourself. I don't need to pass fucking blame to anybody else. I'll just take responsibility for it, work through my shit, and I can continue moving forward. When you release that kind of shit, though, you no longer have as much motivation to do anything with your fucking life.
Right, exactly. Why would you? If you're not in control, why the fuck would you? Right? Like when you, for me anyway, saying to, like, having the internal dialogue at some point, and I don't know exactly when this happened, but there was a shift in my life where I was like, yeah, moving forward, it's just all your fault. It's all your fucking fault. It doesn't matter where it came from, how it happened. It's your fault. Now, what are you going to do about it? Right?
Life got easier then.
It was liberating,
But it's
Life
terrifying
got-
to do that.
It is, but
A lot of people never do.
God damn, it feels so much better, like, afterwards.
Because you don't dwell on it anymore, man. When you blame an outside source, think about it. Like, you can sit there all for fucking weeks. You can't sleep at night. You're just fucking mad at this goddamn person. When you realize that you fucked up, it's like, man,
Yeah.
do fucking better. Okay, cool. I'm going to sleep. But that doesn't keep you up at night. It's whenever we pass that blame to other people. The fucking government's doing this. My girlfriend did this. My best friend just fucked me over, whatever. When you don't take responsibility for it, you're fucking, that is forcing you to just dwell. It's forcing you to dwell, and that can go on for an eternity. That's why you have old people that are still dwelling on shit from the fucking 60 years earlier. What has that done for you?
That's miserable.
And
If
shit
that's
like
the
that.
case. Yeah.
But it's because they never took responsibility for their own fucking
And
actions.
shit like that manifests in everything else. It's like that blame thing. It was, after my last relationship and shit, I was just so fucking mad about this and that and this and that. And I just kind of let it lower my vibration. You know what I'm saying? We were talking about that earlier. It's just like, I just placed that blame upon somebody else rather than just kind of thinking about it differently. And fuck, I'm trying to word it a little better.
So so in order to take responsibility
I understand what you're saying.
So for you to take responsibility for your actions, that takes courage.
Yeah, but I was at this like lower vibrational level, and I was just pissed about it, and it started manifesting in other aspects of my life. And
so that's
those
been
were
proven.
all degressing, and I was like, well, fuck. And then I kind of just came to this realization, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to act like that anymore. I'm not going to place blame. I'm going to own my shit. I could have done better in certain situations or handled it differently, but regardless, it is what it is. I'm going to move forward with a better mindset, and then everything else just kind of started to lift up.
Because you let the fucking shit go.
Yep, you just let it fucking go.
You let it fucking go.
And that's what you got to do.
But that's been proven with like the vibrational frequency and shit. We were talking about that last night. Each mood, so there's like different levels of human vibrations and energy frequencies and stuff like that. This has been proven by science and all this different shit. They have mechanisms that can actually do this now. That's why I said with courage, in order to take responsibility, courage is like the difference. So around
what's the vibration in my wife's nightstand? Fucking, no, I'm kidding. She doesn't have one of those. I couldn't help it.
But like you are, so
She
whenever you're depressed and shit like that, that's why you just feel like shit. Whenever someone's depressed, they don't want to fucking get out of bed. They don't want to do any of this shit. Whenever you're feeling like prideful or you have courage and stuff like that, you have more energy, right? Mm-hmm. And in order to take responsibility for your actions, that's courage, which is a vibrational frequency on its own.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
It's weird. Like that shit that people don't think.
It's empowering. It's liberating. It's like, once you do that, you're like, well, fuck. Like, it's like a weight gets lifted off of your chest in this weird way where you spend, like, for me, it was like early days, blaming it all on my deadbeat parents and everything and just fucking stewing on that and fucking, I'm never going to amount to anything because fucking I didn't have what they had, those fucking kids had, and fuck my parents, those crackhead fucks. And, you know, eventually I was just like, well, okay, what now? Like, you're you. It's up to you now. What the fuck are you going to do about it? Like, and then when you do that, it's like, oh, it is up to me. What am I going to do about it? Mm-hmm. And then it all shifts. It all changes. Is
that around the time that you were talking about earlier when that shift happened? Was whenever you stopped blaming your parents?
Yeah.
So what if, fuck, I don't know where I was going with that. God damn it. That would have been a good thought. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
I've had so
who the fuck? Yeah, it doesn't.
Tonight.
It doesn't matter.
But it's like that. That was it for me. It was like, and it's not this like nihilistic perspective of fuck everything. It's all it's all up to me. Nothing else matters. It's like it's a higher level of understanding that. Anyway, you seem like you just got your thought.
You're breaking out
because I lost my.
You're breaking out of programming. So I went through the same shit around the same time I was like on your podcast and stuff. It was right after this. That was like when I was 29. That was the worst year of my life, right? And the reason for that, and I just now recently came to this conclusion as why was this so fucking bad? And it's because my entire belief system up to that point was shattered. The programming from my parents, the blaming the rest of the fucking world, all of this shit, how I viewed relationships, the shit that which was programming from a younger age. Mm-hmm. Something happened around 29 when that every single fucking thing that I thought I believed in was shattered. And I didn't know how to fucking handle it. Like I had an existential crisis because of that. But then when I got to the other side of it, I was like, oh no, this is what I fucking believe in. It wasn't programming from parents or anything like that. But that sounds like something that sounds like similar to what you experienced. You no longer you weren't blaming your fucking parents or anything like that. But that was a turning point in your life as well though. Mm-hmm. Was coming to that where it's like, it was kind of the reality, like I said, it was shattered. I can see shit with more clear eyes now.
Yeah, it's like you have a clean slate, basically. And you all of programming is the perfect word because I had been trained to think in a certain mindset about everything, and it was just this kind of like, you're fucking white trash, you're always going to be white trash, this is what happens to people like you, and then you realize that no, you actually have you have the capability to shape the outcome of how this fucking narrative goes. Right?
That's the unfortunate part about like lower class. Like everyone has the capability to be that fucking millionaire. They absolutely do. But when you look at lower class individuals, it's because their family has been lower class for generations and generations and generations. That belief system, that programming is passed down from parent to sibling, or from parent to child, from that child onto their kids, and it continues going down that unless you are fortunate enough to fucking break out of that and say, no, like I can achieve whatever the fuck I want to. And then you can start a new trend. You experience that with your kid. At this point moving forward, every generation moving forward will not have to deal with the fuck you dealt with.
Right. My daughter is never going to have some thought that she's doomed to a lesser existence because of her lineage. It's like
so many people have that stuck in their head though, man. That's what's unfortunate is that they can't fucking break out of that.
Some of them aren't conscious of it either.
Like if you were conscious of it, then you wouldn't be fucking following it.
Yeah, I was going to say they go through life and it's just.
A lot of it, man, is not even having awareness that there is a different way to live.
That's government. So if we want to talk about programming, and this is the perfect podcast to bring this up, it's government programming. Like they want people to not be aware. They don't want everyone to realize, oh no, I can make a bunch of fucking money.
Yeah.
That's the last thing that they want. They want everyone to be at the lowest level possible because then you are dependent on the state. They do not want people to be aware. So that's why they fucking ruin our food supply. That's why they tell us to stay inside during a fucking virus instead of getting out into the sun.
Well, that one backfired.
Right.
On the awareness.
So that's,
I mean, that scene, you know.
That was the best thing. The best thing.
It's like the Streisand effect.
But it took something like that.
Yeah.
So that completely fucking backfired on them. They were hoping, but unfortunately, there's some people that are more blind than ever.
There's quite a few.
But how many people, how many fucking people's like eyes were open though?
A lot.
Yeah, a lot of people.
You see this fucking shift and all of a sudden they're like, no, this is bullshit. COVID fucking allowed that to happen and it completely backfired on them. But it's kind of like moving forward, how are we going to do this? Right? Are we going to fall back into this distracted state where we're never fucking present and where we don't think for ourselves and we don't dictate where our life goes? Because that's a choice that you can make.
For a lot of people, unfortunately, I think the answer is probably.
It's easier.
Yeah.
It's very hard to level up in life. Like if you've came, like you had those businesses and stuff like that. Now you have this podcast and stuff like that. For someone to be like we'll call them a high performer, whatever, someone that is constantly wanting to level up in life, that is fucking exhausting. It takes so much effort. It is the most exhausting thing in the world, but it's because you want something more. It's a lot easier for someone just to be like, no, fuck it. I've seen this happen where we see it all the time, actually. Everyone sitting at this table, people listening to this podcast can relate to this. You see someone that's just fucking killing it in the gym. That's not easy, but they're getting it they're putting in the fucking work. They're getting after it. They're seeing amazing progress. And then all of a sudden they just go, no, fuck it. Like it was easier to just be how I was before. It takes so much fucking energy.
Yeah. You get burned out.
If they start making progress, typically they get hooked.
Sometimes,
but
I know
unless they have an influence that enters their life. That
owning a gym, I've seen the top level athlete, like some of the fucking heaviest hitters I've ever met in my life.
They just quit.
They quit,
or they just get to a point where they can't sustain that same level of intensity.
Right.
So then they just stop entirely.
I was gonna. Yeah.
So then they stop entirely.
Yeah, it happens, man. I mean, I've experienced it with different endeavors and stuff, and I certainly feel like I'm at a point now where the Dave that could work 20 hours a day when I was growing the restaurant and bar business and everything, and just I reflect back, I'm like, how the fuck did I do that, man? I'm exhausted thinking about that shit, and it's like, I don't know, I'm some old man now. I'm not. I'm in my mid 30s, but you only have so much of that in you. Right? Like until you can just redline for
oh yeah.
And I'm not even talking about just physically either. Right. It's like mentally, like what you're saying. Like if you wake up every day and you're like, I want to fucking crush it. Like it is exhausting. But I think I don't know, man, because then there are people who do that in perpetuity.
Let me ask you this,
man. That's how
man.
they're wired. But I get tired.
You could read, but that's the thing. You've gotten to a point where you're allowed to get tired.
I don't think so. But that's the problem, is because in my mind, I really don't.
But now, so. but before,
is it a state of fight or flight?
But then I feel guilt, and that's what fucks me up. I feel guilty.
During the restaurant thing, your kid, your little girl, right? I have to fucking run myself into the ground for this little girl in order to give her like a good life. Could your kid's life be better now? Of course, but her life is good.
Yeah.
Now, say if and this is the example I'm using. say if everything just fucking went south, right? You lost fucking everything. You're telling me that you couldn't crank it back up again and be working 20-hour days?
Oh, well, when your back's against the wall, it's...
Well, that's what I mean. We still have it in us. It doesn't matter how old you are. We still have that fucking in us at all times. It's just a matter of we're going to do whatever the fuck we have to do, especially if you have kids and stuff like that. But not even that. Like, it doesn't matter how old you are. You can fucking turn that on and off. If you really,
what's your driving force?
It's your driving force.
Yeah, I mean,
in the beginning for the restaurant, I was like, I got to give this fucking little girl a really good life.
Yeah, and then it became, I got to fucking sell this thing
because I'm not able to give, because then it started interfering with your family life. I wasn't able to spend.
Killer place, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
yeah,
no, I used to.
I visit. I go back. I go back from time to time.
Yeah,
just I don't know anybody anymore.
I haven't been there
so
since I was
become
in college,
like the dude at the bar, like, hey, I used to own this place.
How weird is that?
They're like, bull fucking shit, you did. It's weird. I actually don't say that, but it's weird.
But how weird is it going in and not even recognizing anyone?
Experiencing it as a customer.
Are the systems that you put into place there
same? Yeah,
same.
And that's what I immediately look for.
Yeah,
like, you're still using that.
I keep trying to drink from this fucking empty bottle that there hasn't been anything in so long.
Dude, I keep looking at my glass.
I just pick it up and I'm like,
bet
you've done this 10 times and there's nothing fucking
back to what you were saying though. The thing that gets me is, I don't know if you guys, I'd be interested in, I consider all of you high performers. At the end of the day, I always like reflect back on my day and I fucking think of like, God damn, I could have done this and that.
Dude, I suffer through the same thing. It's like, I always feel like I could be doing more. And you almost get pissed at yourself. You're like, man,
I'm trying to get out of that mindset though, because it's self-hate. I'm literally like, you piece of shit. You could have, there was, this and that you could have done. And why didn't you? And then I have no good reason why I fucking didn't. That's the thing. That's the thing that always gets me.
You need to put a cap on your daily limit, but no cap on your like lifetime limit. Like on your goal, like the goals that you're trying to reach. Because it sounds cliche, but it'll beat you into the ground trying to think about what you could do better. But if you have that plan in place for the next day,
and it's like and
you execute everything on that plan,
but it's so hard not to just fucking lay in bed there, looking over at my wife.
Oh, listen, I get it. I hardly sleep. And that's the problem.
And sometimes you don't.
I feel like you're stewing over there, and I want to hear your thoughts on this.
I don't know what my thoughts are on this, man. It's because it's something I've suffered with on both sides of it.
Okay.
Like I've been in Jacob's spot and I've been in your spot.
So like very handsome and then less so?
Oh,
yes, exactly. Right.
Yeah. we could be twins.
I had hair once upon a time. Now I don't have hair. But it's there's so many different things to break down in that. Once again,
it's like guilt versus
you love your. Let me ask you this though, man. Yeah. You love your life now, right?
Of course.
You love absolutely everything about your life.
Yeah. Except for me.
Except for you, right?
Yeah.
But
isn't that weird?
That's why you don't have to.
I have similar. Yeah. I mean,
it's a.
Yeah.
It's got me thinking.
Yeah. So I don't know. Let's try to tear this apart. Let's try to break this down and tear it apart. Okay, so the reason that the drive, it's not necessarily that your drive is gone because I know that's still there. That's what I said.
I think it's just different driving forces.
Compared to me before, it's maybe diminished some, but compared to an average person, I know that it's
right. Well,
I don't compare myself to average.
It's because you're comparing yourself to how you used to be, man.
Yeah,
but that doesn't fucking matter anymore.
But it's not.
Well, the driving force is different.
Yeah.
So that you have to apply different pressure.
And you're also at a different you're also at a different point in your life, man. So like we have to look at that too. We go in different stages of life and then you get to a certain point where you can just fucking lay in bed, look at your wife and be like, God, my fucking life is amazing. I don't have to get a bunch of shit done today. You don't necessarily need to beat yourself up about that if that's not something that you want. Yeah. Now, if you could be the complete opposite. Like you could be, I don't know, let's use fucking Kevin Hart as an example. That dude is a fucking workhorse and he has everything. But that's how like he knows that and he's like, I could stop, but I just don't want to.
But I guarantee you at the end of the day, he probably has similar thoughts. Like,
oh, absolutely. You could always get more done.
I could have done more. I don't want to think that. Like, I truly want to be happy with what I did for that day. But I always am like laying there like, damn, man, I really took it easy on this.
That's what keeps me up.
So what do you do the next day?
I try to do as much as I can again, but then I always find holes. It's just this.
Yeah.
It's just this fucking ever
Perfectionist
going.
trying to. I mean, it's
not even perfection as much as just like, oh, well,
like still going.
Because I know it.
Because I think I know what you're referring to.
Yeah, it's hard to put.
Yeah,
in words.
it's
well, that's why I can't. I know too. And that's
Yeah.
why like it's hard to.
It's innate for me.
I think that it's just a really it's something. It's some character component that just certain people have, and maybe it's just something I'm just gonna have to always learn to live with. You know?
Do people in your life sit there and tell you like, man, you're too hard on yourself?
Oh, my wife tells me all the time.
See, and I get that all the time.
Yeah,
as well.
I get it.
Daily,
I mean, everybody.
me.
That's.
But it's just
I'm
like,
a workaholic.
how do you
because
turn that
she's
off?
the only person that I talk
But I'm
to.
used to it.
You know, I'm like, fuck, I'm a fucking loser. I should have fucking done. You know, I don't talk to anybody about that like that except for my wife and now the thousands of you guys. But,
So that's something like to think about as well. That's always caught me, including myself in the past. We talk worse to ourselves than we would anyone else. Why the
Without a
fuck
doubt.
would you? Why would you do that? Why would you like? I've said shit to myself that I wouldn't say to the person I fucking like just despised, and yet I'm willing to say that to myself. What kind of fucked up mind do we have where we're willing to beat ourselves down like that? And for what? What the fuck does that do?
yeah, I think it's just because I had like higher expectations for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: do you love yourself?
I don't know because I know myself better than any other person, and I know all the darkness too. And like, there's parts of me I love, but there's parts of me that I need to make better and that I need to improve.
Yeah,
But Dave, like
on a fundamental level.
on like at the essence of who Dave is,
Yeah,
do you love that person? All of its character flaws,
yeah.
all of its good shit.
I don't know, man. I don't know. That's an interesting question. I don't know if I've ever actually asked myself that.
That's a question every single person should ask themselves.
I have
And
to
if the
think
answer
about
is,
that.
and if you have to think about it, then that's something that people need to work on.
Yeah. Because it's like what we said before. I love everything about my life except for me because I feel like I am the one true thing that I can control.
So
And it's not what I want it to be yet.
And that's when I was sitting over here and you're contemplating.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get to because I've been on all of that, right? I've been the fucking person that can't sleep at night because I'm like, I need to be fucking working and doing nothing else. And I've been the person that's like beating myself up because you didn't fucking do enough today. You piece of shit. All this fucking shit. You could have done better until I learned to love myself. And then all that shit disappeared. Because like, could you done more today? Yeah. Well, we're going to do more tomorrow. We're going to do better tomorrow. And it's talking to yourself in that way.
Yeah.
We're going to do better tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's forgiving yourself. That's the thing is like we don't fucking forgive ourselves. We forgive everyone else around us maybe. Like if you're a happy individual, you learn to forgive people or else you're just
but I hold myself to a higher standard than I hold other people.
that's okay and you should. There's nothing wrong with that. So you do love yourself. That right there. That statement right there.
I expect more of myself.
You wouldn't do that if you didn't care about yourself.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Then that's like people's like I hate myself or whatever, but you're in the gym. You wouldn't be in the gym if you hated yourself. You want more for yourself. Self-improvement is the ultimate form of self-love.
Or you hated the person you were.
Yeah.
But you want to become something
Yeah,
like better, of
exactly.
course. But you
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
want that for yourself. Like you wouldn't give a fuck about that.
You
if
don't
you
want
Yeah,
didn't
there
love
would
yourself.
have already been a drastic change at that point.
Well, that's why the person is like,
That's a good
oh, beautiful no matter what, blah, blah, blah. Well, the 500-pound person doesn't fucking love themselves.
Right.
Unfortunately. And that breaks my
That's a good
fucking
point,
heart.
yeah.
That breaks my heart. But the person that is in the gym that weighs 300 pounds and they're trying to fucking lose the weight, they're trying to lose that weight because they fucking, some part of them loves themselves enough to put in the work to fucking do that. Because if you just saw some person on the street that you really just don't give a fuck about, it doesn't matter. You're not going to put any effort into that. But if it's like a family member, like your wife, your kid, yourself, I'm going to do whatever. I'm going to have a higher standard. Like for my kid, other kids, like, yeah, I hope you guys fucking get by in life and all that. But, it doesn't really fuck.
It's a
I have no
different
fucking control over that. But for my kid, it's like, I'm not going to set an unrealistic standard for you, but I do have a fucking standard because I know what you're capable of achieving. And you have that same standard for yourself. So that, in a weird sense, it is a form of self-love.
Yeah.
Self-determination.
I see that now.
It's
for
also
sure.
it's also important in those moments to like reflect as well. I mean, it's like you were talking about your childhood and stuff like that. Like
Sorry, I didn't mean this to become a therapy fucking.
No.
You got Boss Hog on here. It's always going to turn into a fucking therapy thing.
I do it
Especially
as
if I'm
well.
on mushrooms.
What did I expect? Take mushrooms and sit down with you guys.
Well, you know, man, I think about the journey often. You know, like people are like, I'm like so fucking hard on myself, and I've had people tell me like, but look how far you've come, and so it forces me to kind of sit there and reflect on just what led me here, and I appreciate every fucking bit of it. You know, like I went through, you know, drug addiction and fucking college dropout at one point, went to the military, got out, fucking had other ups and downs. You know, my whole life flipped upside down just last year, but I'm still here and I'm still improving every fucking day. And so it's that journey you got to really appreciate. And you're like, God damn, hell yeah, I'm actually fucking crushing it.
That's right. So that what you just said, I'm actually fucking crushing it.
Yep.
That's loving yourself. It's taking a step back, be like, especially you, bro, like your lifestyle growing up.
Yeah, but what about when you've been crushing it by like most standards, all standards, but you know that you probably held a little piece of yourself back and you could have given it more.
Of course you did. We all do.
That's what I
That was a
grapple
learning
with.
lesson.
Then just do more of that in the future.
We all
step
have
it up,
blocks.
you know?
Yeah,
If it's money, we all have fucking money blocks. Like we get to a certain point where we start self-sabotaging with money.
Yeah.
Because you have a money block where it's like, say, $1 million. That's most people. You know, or actually a lot of people, it's like 100,000, 50,000, whatever.
Yeah.
But you get to a certain point where you hit a fucking brick and you're like, no, this is all the money I need to make.
Yeah.
Why?
A good friend of mine a few weeks ago, we were doing a podcast, and he started asking us this thing, like, what did you learn from this? Because we had an event, there was an expo in the upstate, and he was like, yeah, you know, me and my wife started saying this, like, what did you learn from any experience? Like, that's just a good thing to ask yourself. So like if you feel like there was a little bit of you that was holding something back, like, you know, what was it and what did you learn from it so you don't do it again?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I just feel like everything I do, I always come out the other end like knowing I could have done better. Just knowing. Maybe that's having too much belief in myself.
There's no such thing as that.
Well, okay then. But like, why do I always feel like I leave something on the table? You know?
Because you do. We all do.
Yeah.
So how do you cope with that? That's what you're asking.
How do I cope with that? Yeah, that's it's a hard thing to cope with for me, man. It
I don't
really
necessarily-
is.
Gratitude, man.
Yeah.
I have so much gratitude.
Right,
Though.
yeah.
I have
I know
a
you
shit
do.
ton of gratitude.
Yeah.
Like I'm so grateful. But again, I'm grateful for everything around me and that I have. But then when it comes to me, once again, it's like you're your worst critic.
Why do we need to eliminate that though? Like why do we need to eliminate I could have done more?
I don't think we need to eliminate it.
Right, we don't need to.
I'm just curious, like, do you guys also feel it?
Oh,
And
of
then,
course,
like,
every day.
How do you deal? You know, what do you do?
I
With
just let it go.
I think it just.
I don't put much thought into it, bro. I'm just
think it's-
like,
I think we separated that natural behavior that we all have as, you know, high level individuals from loving ourselves, and that's where we kind of veered off.
I think it's healthy if you're aware. You know what I'm saying? And you let it go. But like, if anything, that mentality like helps you charge forward even more.
it goes back to that.
It really does.
Well, it really is just don't dwell on it. What the fuck is that going to do? Like, is this? Ask yourself this.
Well, I usually don't, but I took mushrooms and then I sat.
And we're
down
talking about
at
it.
the
Made me
fucking
think
table.
weird.
I don't
His
think-
hand was tripping
what
me
it
out a few
does.
minutes ago.
So the only way to
Camera footage is going to be good.
get rid of that is to no longer want more for yourself,
Which is not an option.
which is not an option. So like it doesn't. It's just a part of life. Like it is who you are, and awesome.
And this
Good.
this is actually this is something that I take a lot of issue with in modern times. And I've posted about it, I've talked about it, and it's okay to be tired. It's okay to feel pain. It's okay. Like all of this shit that we act like it's
Feel
not
it.
normal to feel.
Yeah.
Right? Like everything is like, oh, I got a slight headache, let me take this. I got a fucking this hurts, let me take that. I'm tired, I need a nap, or I need caffeine or whatever. It's like, nah, man, you're human and you're experiencing all these different states of being. Like it's normal to feel discomfort. And I think the same applies mentally too. Like you need to experience that. Like even with like pot, for example, I know a lot of people say, I don't like to smoke, it gives me anxiety, right? Well, I like that because it's heightened awareness, right? Like it makes me think, sure, I'm anxious, but I can channel it into something, right?
Why are they anxious though?
I don't get anxious.
Right.
Yeah.
They're anxious because they're becoming more aware of the shit that's going on inside them.
Exactly.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's what makes them anxious, and they don't know how to deal with it because they don't take any time to be fucking present. They don't take any time to be bored. They're always distracted. Anytime they start to feel uncomfortable, they pull out their fucking phone and start looking through Instagram because I no longer have to deal with myself because now I'm distracted.
Right. And the normal state of existence is almost one of numbness today. Like
It's all about being comfortable, man.
We're
The slow death. Comfort is a slow death.
We're trying to avoid the human experience.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to. Like, we're trying to avoid the human experience instead of just fucking leaning into it and embracing it. Like, there is no better fucking gift imaginable than to be a human being, especially on this fucking planet. Oh my God, we have it made. Like, it doesn't get any better than this, and yet we're trying to fucking escape it. Okay, yeah, depression sucks. I've fucking been there. It is terrible. Anger fucking doesn't feel great either, especially afterwards. That come down from anger. You always feel like a fucking idiot, right? But joy, happiness, love, all of these different things are all part of being human. Like, we get that. Why try to fucking avoid it? Why be distracted from it? Like, just fucking lean into it. Okay, I'm depressed. Fuck. Well, guess what? I'm depressed because I'm a fucking human. Like, I get to experience depression. Okay, that's fucking cool. Like, it's a matter of gratitude.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking human, and I can experience fucking sadness. I can experience being happy. I can experience all these different emotions and ecstasy and all these cool things because I'm a fucking human.
Right.
And yet we are trying to detach from that. We are trying to distract ourselves from that. Oh my God, this is a bad feeling. Instead of just being like, oh fuck, there's a bad feeling. All right. If anything, like, look at it like a challenge, right? I'm feeling fucking anxious. Well, let's get to the bottom of this motherfucker. Let's try to figure this out.
Interesting.
This is it, right? Let's fucking dig into this. Like, this is a challenge. This is an opportunity for me to improve myself, because that's what that is. We're not running from it. When you lean into these emotions, especially the fucking bad ones, that's an opportunity for you to grow. So it's like, this is a challenge. Okay, fucking cool. Let's lean into this motherfucker. Right. Let's get to the bottom of it, because once I get to the other side of it, I'm going to be a better person. But instead, we don't fucking do that. We pull out our phone and it's, let's be fucking distracted. Let's not deal with our shit so we can be a better fucking member of society and a better parent, or just a better fucking son, or whatever it is.
Well, yeah, I quote better parent,
right,
or son. But,
dude,
yeah.
Well, it kind of goes with what I was talking about earlier. It's like feeling it. You know, like that feeling of anxiety. What do we do to avoid that? I don't know. A lot of people just take a Xanax. They're good, right? I mean, just so they can avoid feeling that bad thing. You know, for years, this kind of got me into trouble. I talked about that heavy mushroom dose I did, and it was like 6 grams. And, you know, I'm like laying by a fire naked crying. But like, dude, but what I realized is that I just wanted to avoid feeling those negative things. I was like, all right, no, fuck that. I got to keep charging forward. Keep charging forward. Stay positive. That's what you just got to do, Joe. And then world flipped upside down, shit ton of mushrooms. And I was like, oh, crap. I'm confronting every bit of this. And I'm actually going to feel it. And you know what? That was such a beautiful realization, as hard as like that evening was. And I spent the whole time in tears. Now I'm like looking at life through a whole different lens. Like when, you know, like I've been dealing with some like anxiety lately just from past shit. But you know what? I'm just like talking about it and I'm feeling it. I'm just understanding it. I'm like, all right, cool. I can embrace this and I can grow from that. But like the thing is, I talk
now you're talking about it to thousands of people.
Yeah. No, I mean, it is what it is, you know? But like the thing is, I embrace suffering, man, because all it's going to do is force growth. I think it's a beautiful thing, but so many people aren't willing to suffer. They stay comfortable rather than taking like that big fucking hit every once in a while.
Well, you see it in just people's behavior online, on social media and stuff. And I talked about this with like, my philosophy of social media is like, I basically don't comment on other people's shit. If I do, it's like one of you guys supporting you or something, but I never go out of my way to like make a negative comment on someone's shit. I just don't. I focus on creating, putting it out there, and that's it.
Post and ghost.
Yeah.
I say it a few times a day typically.
Yeah. But
like a mantra.
But that's not the norm, right? A lot of people are fucking out there getting into it, commenting on people's shit, just and it's. I think a lot of that is because it's so much easier to live vicariously, almost. That might not be the right word, but to have this online self that's attacking people for all their shortcomings, because that's way better, way easier than turning your gaze inward and looking at what's going on with you, right? That's why there's so much outward attack. Just fucking, I see it, dude. I get so many DMs from people like, fuck, just the most awful shit they say to me, and I just laugh about it, you know, because I'm like, man, you got some shit you need to work through, bro.
Yep.
Imagine what
Yeah.
they're saying
You
to
got-
going back to what we were saying earlier. Imagine what they're saying to their fucking
To
selves.
themselves.
I was going
Right.
to say, you got one. You
But
got
that's the
somebody
way I
pointing
look
their
at
finger
it.
at you.
They're
There's three pointing
directing,
right back.
they're directing what they really want to say to themselves to me.
That's
They're
what it is.
self-projecting, man.
Yeah.
And the shit they're saying to you, they're saying something so. It's almost like
Yeah.
you can almost feel, at least myself, I almost feel bad for those people because it's like, holy fuck, you're talking to me like this, and I know, like,
And you took how much time out of your day
to do this,
to write this diatribe to me?
that someone that doesn't give a fuck,
Right.
like, but I can only imagine the fucking your own internal self talk and how fucking bad that is. Like, you are a miserable fucking person. Like, that sucks, man.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
It's
And that's
awful.
why it's like, I'm not even mad. I'm not going to take any offense to it because I don't give a fuck. If anything, I feel a little like sympathy because I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, you got some shit going on, man.
Right.
That sucks for you. Hopefully you work it out. It doesn't fucking matter past the next second. But either way, we see that with going back to like being distracted and not like dealing with your own internal shit, right? You have so many business people that just constantly are fucking grinding and grinding. They use that instead of always need to improve, always need to improve, always need to improve, and always need to be working. And then they get to a fucking stage of like 40 or 50 and they fucking have this giant fucking crash, right? Because they never took time to work on themselves and to deal with shit and to that would have helped them like cope better. But instead they were just distracted the whole time. And then they get to a fucking certain point where they just completely crash.
And they lost themselves along the way.
They lost themselves, right? Then they get to 45. Well, let's talk about like midlife crisis. That's probably where that comes from. Is you spent fucking 25 years working a fucking job, just like wage slave type shit, whatever, and you never actually had an identity for yourself. Then you get to 45 and you're like, who the fuck am I?
That's when you get a fucking young girlfriend and a Corvette and all that.
To try to figure out who the
All
fuck
that
you are.
bullshit.
Yeah,
because you're trying
the
to go
Corvette's
back
not
to
fooling
those.
anybody.
You're trying to go back to those earlier years, right, and relive that.
What a sad fucking place to be in, though, when you have
Yeah.
to try to resort back to like a younger year.
Well,
I agree.
The glory days.
they did a documentary on this about like Olympic athletes and how like they're just channeled towards that one fucking moment like their entire lives pretty much.
Yeah, then once they get it,
then they
fucking
get there and it
depressed.
crashes, and then it's like, who the fuck am I? And like people kill themselves and shit. It's pretty fucked up.
So you asked earlier, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, it's wild.
You don't ever want to fucking deal with that, dude. You want that internal voice because if you don't have that internal voice, then you're like the fucking athletes that accomplished it and they couldn't have done anymore. And guess what? They're fucking depressed and they don't know what to do now.
Exactly.
So that's why, like, if you have that character trait where I'm not doing enough, okay, good. That's fucking great. I want to hear that.
Right.
Because if I don't hear that, that means I fucking reached a finish line and I don't even want to know what the fuck is next.
I think the key to dealing with it is having the self-awareness to recognize that as a character trait.
Right. Just embrace it.
It's
Exactly.
there. That's
Embrace
me.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, awesome. Moving on. Like, thank you for this. Like, whatever the fuck. I developed this character trait along the way.
Right.
Cool. This has allowed me to have the life that I have. And this is always going to fucking be there. And the day that it's not there, honestly, that is going to be a miserable fucking day.
Probably the day I die.
Right.
Exactly. Try to recognize there really is no finish line. It's kind of idea of like a slogan I have is hunt, eat, repeat. You know, like you said something.
Honey, repeat.
honey, repeat. No, hunt, eat, repeat.
Oh, okay. I was like, honey.
Yeah.
I know you're sweet pea or whatever.
Dude,
honey.
hey, don't get me going with that now. But hunt, eat, repeat, and the idea is just like, you know, hunt down your goals, like take it in, and then repeat that, and just keep raising the fucking bar. It's like people are like, "Where do you see things ending?" And I'm like, I don't. I'll just die one day, I guess. But you just keep raising the bar. You know what I'm saying? So,
Well, Dorian went through that, right? Whenever Dorian finally, whenever Dorian Yates, like, reached the fucking pinnacle of bodybuilding, he had this whole fucking crisis afterwards for like the next 5 years. And that's when he started experimenting with psychedelics and shit. And he started going to therapy and all this shit because he reached the fucking pinnacle where he's like, that voice, that talk, could I have done better? No. And I reached like, this is as good as I fucking get. And then he didn't know how to fucking cope with that. So it's like having that voice in your head. I hope it never fucking goes away because we've seen what that looks like.
Yeah.
When that does go away, man, like, it's awful. So, like, congratulations to people like Dorian Yates, fucking Arnold, you know, anyone that has, like, achieved a level of success where they're like, I fucking tried my absolute best every single goddamn day and I accomplished my biggest goal and I did not hold a single thing back. That's absolutely fucking amazing.
and they didn't, harm themselves after that.
Right.
They seem to transcend beyond their goal.
Yeah, now they're like, oh, let's just do some other cool things.
Well, that's the thing. Like people like
yeah.
Arnold,
Yeah.
but they went through a crash afterwards. I can guarantee. Actually, I've seen some shit with like not a lot, but I've seen certain things with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan went through this as well because Michael Jordan fucking put in full effort every single goddamn day, and then whenever basketball ended, he's like, "Oh fuck."
Well, I've heard accounts of just how ridiculously competitive he is.
Oh yeah,
everything he does in life, just
every single
has
thing
to win. Like ruthless. And like when you're that kind of person, man, and the one thing you devoted your life to is just over, it's tough to grapple with, man.
Yeah, so I'll take that fucking voice every single goddamn day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Could I have done better? Yeah, I could have. Awesome. Thank God that voice is still there.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's good. Yeah. It's good.
Amen to that. How you doing, Jacob?
Oh man, I'm great.
Yeah.
Kosher. Yeah. Well, yeah. I was gonna butt in earlier and ask you if water's still in that cup or not.
This one that's
well, no, because you keep trying to drink it. And I just watched it. I was like,
yeah, man. I hope that anybody listening to this gets some value out of that because it's a human trait. Like we're all just fucking meat sacks trying to navigate this cosmic fucking dilemma that we're in, and no matter who it is, right? Like the person who has like really fucking done it in life, like really, like whoever you look up to, like they're still just a fucking meat sack navigating this cosmic puzzle, right? Just like you are. And I think taking ownership of that and realizing that it's in your fucking control and it's up to you, and really facing inward and confronting yourself and figuring yourself out is going to result in more happiness than you have now. That's for sure. I mean, but the key thing is like, we're all the fucking same. We're all trying to figure this bullshit out. Yeah. Right.
I don't think there's anyone that has there's a
Nobody,
couple individual. There's maybe a couple individuals throughout history that has figured it out.
And what is even that,
Right. It doesn't.
That figuring out wouldn't correlate to today's.
No.
That's the thing, though, is to understand that, like, probably ain't going to figure it out, and that's okay. You're just...
Hey, well, who gives a fuck?
You're navigating. It's the journey,
I'm going to die asking questions.
We're here for 100
figure it
years,
out.
maybe.
Yeah,
exactly.
It goes back to being grateful for the opportunity to experience being human.
Yeah,
exactly.
And each day you're like, fuck, yes.
What
like,
is it to be human?
What's going to happen today?
That's all life is, an experience, man.
Even the bad shit. I wonder what bad shit's going to happen today.
You
cool,
could
let's
have been
fucking
a
see.
fucking fruit fly with a 2-week lifespan. God,
Right. Like
Imagine
we
that.
have it fucking made.
Moth, dude. What is that? What's the lifespan on that shit?
But for some reason, this fucking thing up here
3 hours.
tries to convince you.
Probably.
After that. Yeah.
Your fucking brain tries to convince, including myself in the past, that you don't have it made. Whenever you, like, it literally doesn't get any fucking better than being a human on Earth.
No, it doesn't.
But this fucking thing up here convinces you that you're fucked somehow or whatever.
Yeah,
that life could be better.
We're the only thing that's self-aware. I mean, like,
well, that's a curse and a blessing.
Yeah, it is.
So, with that, all of you self-aware listeners out there, I hope you got some value out of this. I need another drink, and I think we're probably going to try to record at least one more time before we get out of the cabin. The four. What are we going to call this? Four horsemen of...
It's the foursome of...
Foursome.
Whoa.
I hope you guys enjoy this foursome.
The forest foursome. Welcome to the mountains, baby.
What do we call it? 3 dudes and a Dave? What did we say earlier?
Yeah, 3 dudes, 1 Dave.
Is that what we said?
I don't know, but
this has been 3 dudes, 1 Dave.
I thought you said douche earlier.
Probably.
Well, I mean, I'll accept that title.
We can get this on a book cover.
All right.
I know.
There's plenty of book covers.
For those of you that have lasted this long, thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations, and you exist. Be grateful for it, and until next time, keep your minds free.